Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Dominic, and I'm responsible for the managing project for building the infrastructure of the XDC network. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to speak with you today about the XDC network, and everybody can bring a laptop and try the tools I will mention in this workshop because it's already downloadable and you can use it immediately. So before we dive into the technical details and tools, I want to take a few minutes to provide some background about the XDC network. So XDC network is a fast and efficient blockchain platform that's designed to meet the needs for business and organization for all sizes. So if you are if a new app builders, you can build on the XDC chain. And if you just want to find just want to use the network to transfer the payment, you can also use it as well. And now let's start with the XDC wallet. And so XDC wallet is a free client-side interface. So like many other wallets, we actually built a web-based wallet and an extension for the Explorer as well. So you can download this wallet on this address, and the Chrome extension on this address. And creating a new wallet is quite similar to the other wallet you can see in the market. You can just go to the xdcwallet.com and follow the steps to create a new wallet. So the very first step is like provide your password and then write down this phrase key, and after you write down this phrase key, you successfully create a wallet for it. And let me show you the extension on my Explorer. I'm now actually having this XDC wallet here. You can see we are supporting different like mainnet and the testnet and other custom RPC as well for the XDC wallet. And now let me give a demo of getting a test call from our testnet. So you open this address, and you just simply pass your wallet address to it and get it to your. And now you are done with the transaction. So you can also like other wallets, you can just transfer your test account from one account to another account. Let me demonstrate it here. So you choose the account to account one, and just send the coins to the second address. And wait for it. So now the second account has received the test coins from the account one here. And now let's move to the other toys we already built. Seems like the slide doesn't work. I will show directly. Like we have built a test with the XDC Explorer here. This is the testnet environment. So you can check all the transaction history, and you can find all the crucial information that you need on the blockchain, like the every transaction second last block. We built this Explorer for the mainnet and the testnet. It can be used online now. And one of the important things is you can actually try to find the contract on on the Explorer, let me find a contract and mine some token from it. Just wait for a second, I'm going to find a token that can be mined. Yeah. So we now seeing the token is the it's the WBTC, which can be mounted because I already added into the wallet before. So if you want to mount it, you need to add the token for it. And now using the Explorer, you can write a contract and you can see because it's ERC20, it has all the function that it requires to have for this standard. So now you're going to mount this to the wallet. And because it's 8 decimal, you need to add a 0 behind it. Oh, you need to connect your wallet first. And now using the Explorer, you have successfully mounted a WBTC from it and deposit into your wallet. So the next thing I want to talk about is the remix. So XDC actually has a remake, have its own remix, so you can like develop your own Solidity in this platform. Like here, I already have provided a Solidity. I have already provided a sample contract for the demonstration. So after you finish coding for it, you can like you can use the remix to compile it. Like here, I have already compiled this contract in it. So this is a pizza contract. You can like configure its pizza slides, and it has some function of like eat pizza. So after you finish compile it, you can see the green tick here. And you can start to deploy the contract after you finish compiling it. Before you are using this XDC remix, you need to have the wallet first because it can connect with the wallet. So for the environment, you choose the injected Web3, and the address will be automatically linked to the wallet address of yours. You see the wallet address, the last 4 digits 4454. And this wallet address match. And then you start deploying. And you need to submit the transaction. Now you have successfully deployed the contract, and we can check it on our Explorer as well. So copy the contract deployment. We can just saw our deployment has been successful. And using this, clicking on this contract address, we can see the transaction or history of this contract. And also you can pass the address into the remix. And now you can execute all kind of function of the contract. Like if I want to add a slice of pizza, and then I can submit it. And you can see this function has been executed successfully and interact with the XDC wallet. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Can take it out? Yeah, but the file is here. Can I use this? Yeah, you want me to? This button? Oh, just go right. You want me to operate? No, I'm good, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Testing? Yeah. Thank you. Hello, my name is Troy. I lead a company called Impel. We're very proud and honored to be here with you today. Thank you for your participation. So Impel is a next-generation messaging API and payment rails for banks and corporates. Think of SWIFT or SEPA in Europe and cross-border payments from bank to bank, but we take it a little bit further. So our mission is to enhance the global commercial payments industry. You have the older MT type messages, which we're upgrading to the MX type, the new XML version. We offer instant settlement, so no longer nostro vostro accounts or the central bank to settle up at the end of the day. We have a way to convert fiat to digital assets and back again as on and off ramps. Who can benefit? Financial institutions such as neobanks, banks in emerging markets, traditional banks, and non-financial institutions, corporates, large emerging market champions, and SMEs. As the image shows, we're moving from a centralized method to a decentralized peer-to-peer method. Our ecosystem includes Impel, which we provide the ISO 20022 API. The XDC network is our chosen blockchain of choice because of the robustness, the security, the speed, the low operating cost. Our solution partners are R3 Corda, Fluent Finance, and Trace Financial. We have two main solutions. One is the ISO 20022 API and the R3 Corda bridge. The R3/4 bridge allows anyone to take digital assets from the XDC network's public blockchain and move them over to a core-to-core app on their private DLT. The ISO 20022 API is similar to what SWIFT or SEPA would offer, but again, we have a next generation model that we can take a little further. The industry challenges are inefficient payment systems, outdated data formats, required global adoption of the ISO 20022 standard. Think about when you want to wire funds from one bank to another bank, one account to another account, you're limited to daily cutoff times, nights, weekends, holidays. No instant settlement options for corporates, and then expensive payment platforms where neobanks and small SMEs can't afford to participate. For cross-border and domestic financial messaging, Impel's solution moves from the status quo, which is a 1 to 3 day settlement time, only business days. You're talking about fiat only, and it usually exclusive to only large and corporates. They also have to convert from MT to MX message types. It's a centralized model. They still have to use Nostro Vostro accounts. It's a high cost and inefficient. Using Impel's solution, we can still use Nostro Vostro accounts, still use a central bank to settle up at the end of the day. However, we offer a lower cost-effective operating cost for financial institutions and banks, rather than the traditional providers like SWIFT or SEPA. Our next generation model allows for instant settlement 24/365, no longer requires Nostro Vostro accounts, no longer requires the central bank to settle up at the end of the day. In essence, it's a peer-to-peer model. So each entity would run their own gateway node hosting Impel's API. Impel's value add is just stated, it's a decentralized peer-to-peer connectivity. We have the standard ISO 20022 messaging format. It's inclusive, so the people that, the entities that cannot afford the traditional providers, we're a great solution for them. Time agnostic, you'll be able to operate nights, weekends, holidays. And then a full spectrum of payment vehicles. So we're merging fiat and digital assets. Our software is live on the XDC Network's mainnet. We have a self-paced demo that anyone in the world could try out. You just come to impel.global, provide your name and your email address. It sends you a link that's good for you only, and you can use it as much as you'd like to. You create your own financial message, include digital assets or don't include digital assets. You send it across the mainnet from a pretend bank A to a pretend bank B, from a pretend customer's account to a pretend customer's account. Once it arrives at the final destination, you can see the transaction history on the XDC Network's Block Explorer and do a deep dive into the XML code that allowed the transaction to take place. Implementing Impel's ISO API is pretty straightforward. A few commercial agreements, KYC for the entity, pilot testing. Will be provided an API key for usage. Integration into core backend systems, whether it's the corporate or the banking. Each entity will need a counterparty on the receiving end. So you would pick your best partner to team up with to start facilitating transactions. And then once you go live, we would just monitor performance. The global challenges moving from a traditional to the public blockchain. So we have slow transaction times, fraud, multi-party complexity, privacy concerns, non-interoperable digital islands, and it's not plug and play. This is where Impel's solution with R3 Corda comes into play. Impel currently offers the only live production bridge for moving digital assets from a public blockchain to Corda apps. Entities such as banks or financial institutions or corporates can use this bridge to settle contracts and agreements rather than using traditional methods. The XDC network, the notable highlights are it's designed for enterprise finance, it's KYC compliant validating nodes, forensic monitoring for bad actors, energy efficient due to the network protocol, and it's a community-driven consensus driving project. The comparisons between the XDC network and other blockchain protocols. The XDC network stands out at high scalability, 2,000 plus transactions per second, near zero gas fees of 0.00001 cent per transaction, smart contract capability, and the energy consumption is quite low. We consider it a green project. Coming June 1st, the mainnet will be live for 4 years straight with zero downtime. Our partner R3, they started in 2014, and so they are, think of it, it's not a true blockchain, but it's a distributed ledger technology, but it's a private format. So each entity will have their own cord app for their own usage for their own private transactions. Impel's bridge allows digital assets to move from the public blockchain to cord app apps on their private platform. Fluent Finance is Impel's strategic partner for bringing the US Plus stablecoin onto the XDC network. They work with a consortium of banks for onboarding and offboarding fiat. So in essence, they're starting with commercial accounts first and then retail accounts next. So in core banking systems, the customer will convert fiat from their cash from their personal accounts and mint US Plus onto the XDC network. You can use that US Plus stablecoin however you wish on the XDC network, through trading pairs, through Impel's ISO messaging, through Impel's R3 Corda bridge. And then when the user is done with the stablecoin, they can send it back to the bank to redeem it for fiat. And they would put fiat back into your account. At the same time, too, if you think about Tether or Circle, they report usually once a quarter, and you have no idea where their proof of reserves are between the rest of the 3 months. Fluent Finance will report proof of reserves 4 times a day. This is Fluent Finance compared to the other stablecoins on the market. And I apologize, I'm running out of time. We have some more speakers right behind me, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. Trace Financial allows us to convert the old MT message types to MX, the new XML base, and that's a seamless plug-in to Impel's API. This is us around the world with different conferences, the International Trade Forfeiting Association and GTR, the Global Trade Review, this past year. Our core team is myself, Troy Wood, our global business development manager, Sarah McHale. She's currently attending the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, Trade Facilitation Summit event just down the street, and that's where I've been today. So I had to come over here and provide this presentation, and thank you for allowing us to do that. Our partners are Atul and Ritesh, the co-founders of the XDC network. Andre Casterman is our advisor. He was with SWIFT for 24 plus years. This is how to reach us on social media. Thank you very much for allowing us to present today.
Hello, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. So I am from Team Plugin. Like as you can see, so we provide decentralized Oracle support to XDC network. So today I'm going to tell you how we are going to do that. So for all the developers who are out there, like if you are developing a dApp or if you are developing a use case which require off-chain data, like you have an application which needs to get the off-chain data and then you want to put it onto your blockchain network, that's where Oracle comes in. And then what plugin does is making it decentralized. So we have node operators spread across the world who give us data, and then we are using technology and architecture. We aggregate those data, put it into blockchain, and make sure that we provide you decentralized data feed from outside world to blockchain world. So I'm here to demo you how we have done that. So all we have to do is go to plugin website, which is goplugin.go. And then on top, you can see there's a menu for feeds. So this will help you to get different types of data that you want to use for your smart contracts. So let's say your smart contract is looking for data or price of stable coins, you can get it here. If you want to get the price of cryptocurrencies, you can get it here. And we have also ordered commodities. If you want to get the price feed for wheat or rice, so you have data feeds for all such categories. So as you can see, we have feeds for stable coins, cryptocurrencies, foreign exchange, commodities, and then we are also coming up with NFT feeds and build your own feeds. So let me quickly show you how this works, right? So how we can leverage this data feed and then get the data into your smart contract. So first you have to see what kind of data feed that you want to get in. Let's say that for the demo purpose, I'm going to use stablecoin. And then I'm going to get the price pair of USDT to USD. So what plugin has done or what we have done beautifully is, so we have abstracted all the complexity from the developers. So if you are, or if you have to get this price feed, you don't have to write a bunch of codes. All you have to do is integrate our code into your smart contract, and then all done. You will get the data feed into your application. So this is how, like, if you want to know what the price value, you click on this get latest, and then, so we have API providers who gives us data. They fetch data from multiple sources, and then we aggregate, and then we provide you a single source of truth for this. So now, let's say how I want to use this. So if I want to use plugins data feed, I have to get this code. So the code that you see right here, so it's all written. The contract is absolutely foolproof. All you just have to do is put this in your code. And so plugin as a decentralized Oracle, it runs on a gas fee. Since we are running on XDC network, which has a very, very minimal gas fee. So with less gas fee, you'll be able to get the data feeds of various pairs. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to integrate this code into your smart contract. So once you are here, so you'll have to connect your wallet. So I'm using XDC Pay, and then I'm connected to this XDC mainnet. So I'm clicking on integrate now. And then the next step that I have to do is connect the wallet. So now it says So we have a minimum deposit of 1 PLI. So for the contract to hit the Oracle and then get the data and then supply to your smart contract, there is a fee that we have to pay, which starts from as minimum as 1 PLI. So I am going to deposit those PLI, like let's say I'm depositing 1 PLI. And then the transaction will ask for approval. I say approve. Then I confirm the transaction. So yeah, so it's all done now. So the data feed is ready for me to use now. So all you have to do is copy this contract. So this contract is already written and tested. So you just have to take this contract and then go to your remix, like wherever you want to integrate your price feeds, right? So I just copy the code and then I paste it here and then just make sure that you are all good to use it. I'm going to compile this. It's all good. And then I'm going to deploy this contract to my XDC Pay network. I just confirm all good, and then I'm going to deploy it. So now we have our architecture is now running, like it takes your request, go to the server, get the price feed from multiple sources, and then does the aggregation to give you the single source of truth. Now the contract is deployed. Now you can see, so I need the price info. I click on get price info. Again, I'll have to get the price info into the blockchain now. So the data will come to blockchain. And once the transaction is done, so you have the price feed now. So at the bottom, all you see is like when you click on show, that is a price feed. So the value is ready now. So all you have to do is get this piece of code into your smart contract wherever you need the real world data, wherever you need the data feed. You just have to use this. And within few minutes, you'll be able to get any type of real world data, be it commodity price pair or be it stablecoin price pair or be it cryptocurrency price pair. In few minutes, you will be able to get this into your smart contract at a very, very minimal fee. So I also want to share you that I know like some of you are developing and you want to test this out. So this price feed which I showed you in mainnet now is also available in Apothium. So if you want to test or if you want to build apps and test whether the price feeds are working, the same code or the same functionality is also available in XDC Apothium network, which you can use for testing purpose. What is coming up? So we are also coming up with functionality to build your own data feed. So we have, if I have to show you, if you go to data feed, and then, so we have all these types of data feeds already available, and then we are introducing new pairs every day or every month. But then we are also giving provisions for the developers. So, and we are welcoming developers to onboard, and then you can build your own feed. So this is a feature that we are working on. Very shortly, you should be able to build your own index pair, test it in Apothium network, and then push it to mainnet. And then the next source, we are coming with NFT feeds, randomization. All those are in pipeline. If you want, I can show one more feed where I can get the commodity price. So these are the commodities that we have. Like we have coffee to USD, and then we have wheat to USD. Let me show one like where I get the price of wheat against the USD. Likewise, I have to click the, if I just want to know the price, I can click on get latest. It will show me the price. But then if I am a developer and I want to use this code, then I have to connect my wallet and deposit that minimum PLI fee. So I'm connecting to my wallet. So again, I'll deposit a minimum PLI of 1. Okay. So you can make a note of the time. I just started probably 30 seconds ago, and within a minute. So now the code is ready for me to use. I didn't even use any logic. I just copied this code, go to remix, paste, compile. All good, then you are good to deploy. So now code is ready for use. So I click on deploy. So code is deployed. And then I click on get price info. So it's done. So you see the price now. So this value, you just have to call in your application and then you're all set. So yeah, so that's how plugin data feeds work. As I already said, we are inviting developers who can build your own data feed. We are also bringing in new data feeds every day or every now and then. So yeah, start exploring data feeds, and thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jignesh here. I'm co-founder of Comtech Gold. We have built this gold tokenization platform where you can tokenize gold. The whole idea for building this tokenization platform is gold, which was the original currency in olden days, was not fungible. So if you want to buy anything or to sell anything, you have to break the gold, which was not possible. And that is why the currency notes were built. Now, coming back to that, what we have done is we have tokenized this entire system on the XDC blockchain, where what we do is we take 1 kilo of gold and then convert them into 1,000 tokens, which is 1,000 grams of gold. So one token is equivalent to 1 gram of token. So if you can see a little bit about our company, which is formed in Nafza, it is registered in UAE, and it is 100% asset-backed tokenization platform. It is built on the XDC network, and our company is the first Sharia-compliant certification which we have able to take it in the region. The whole idea for Sharia compliant was to make sure that the gold that is with us is kept in a segregated and allocated manner. Now, when we create this tokens, it is very easy to sell these tokens and to buy the tokens over exchange. So we have kept it on L-Bank, Bytrue, and Bitmart, where you can buy this token. And the price of each token is equivalent to 1 gram of gold, which is at the international rate. So now, to add a governance layer to it, what we have done is we have partnered with DMCC, where each and every 1 kg of gold is converted into a trade flow warrants. Now, these trade flow warrants are legal contract by UAE government. So these contracts are validated and approved by government of Dubai. So once we take this physical gold, we keep it with vault in Transguard. Transguard is Emirates Group. And when we keep this 1 kg of gold, we create this trade flow warrants. And for each warrant that we create, we parallelly create 1,000 tokens. So when DMCC as a government authority, they validate both the Transguard warrants as well as 1,000 tokens, and then they approve it. Now, to build more security layer, when you need to withdraw this gold, this tokens are easily and cacheable, and it can be withdrawn. So to withdraw this tokens, just have to come with 1,000 tokens to us, and we can convert back to physical gold and give it back to you. So the whole idea of this thing is to create a token which is 100% backed by physical gold, and this gold is kept with Transguard, which is a regulated vault, and all the gold and the storage which is kept with Transguard is insured. Regular audits and inspections are taking place. And we make it so fungible that you can even break it into smaller units from not only till 1 gram, but you can go down to 0.001 gram, which can be given as reward points, or it can be just given as gifts to your friends and relatives. So the whole idea is to make it very easily accessible to end users. And soon we are coming up with a digital gold card. Now this digital gold card will be like a debit card, which will be through a bank, which is Almeria Bank, and it will be a MasterCard, a debit card. So once you have this gold, you can transfer this onto your card, and you can pay using you can pay for your coffee bills or any other food bills or anything that you want to using this particular debit card. Now here I have given a little bit of comparison why Comtech Gold. If you can see, there are hardly any custody fees for this. If you go with ETFs or any other retail physical gold, you need to pay huge charges. Now also the time of settlement is instant as compared to other gold that is there. And we are a Sharia compliant. The main benefit of this gold, as I said, it can be used as a gifting tool or utility tokens. Utility tokens, like you can make it like, instead of using those skyward points, expire at a particular time. We use skyward points when we get a mail saying that in next 1 month your skyward points are going to expire. So it can be given as a reward points. Then it can be used as a portfolio diversification, where you can use it to hedge your current portfolio. Because as you see in this current inflation market, the prices of other commodities are going higher and higher. It is a very much pegged stable coin because it is backed by 100% physical gold. The other advantages are it is very attractive and affordable as compared to if you go and buy physical gold in a gold market, you practically pay around 3 to 4% more as compared to you can pay over here, because those market in physical gold, most of them, they don't vary much. They keep, they just take an average of the entire day and they mark up this thing up to prices for 3 to 4%. Whereas in this thing, it is as a real-time international gold rate. So that can be, so there is where you can save on around 3 to 4%. Whereas when you go back to this physical gold to buy physical gold, you pay around 100 to 150 dirhams of making charges. Here there are no making charges. And this can be bought and sold immediately, instantly. Now monetization, so for monetization, what you can do is, since it is in digital format and it's a standardized gold bar that we are using for 1 kg, and there is no variation in gold. So you can just go to the bank and you can avail, loans out of it, which can be, we are tying up with a lot of banks. And it is a Sharia compliant product. As I said, it is segregated, allocated. And we can also earn through leasing options. So when you buy physical gold, you just keep it at your home. Instead, what we are promoting is you can put it as a leasing scheme where we'll give physical gold to the jeweler, and we can start earning interest out of, which can be shared with all the investors. So this is a broad level process flow where the creations are done converting the physical gold bar into digital CGO tokens. The storage are kept with TransGuard, and there are custodians, digital custodians like propine, copper. And the benefits of and uses are like you can lease these tokens, you can collateralize to take loans, you can convert them into physical bars, back to physical bars, and you can sell your tokens on this listed exchange. Then you can also convert them into jewelries. These are the few benefits that you can see. You can see statistics broadly. If you see around, well, we have a capacity of currently 124 kg. So we have minted around 124,000 tokens. Now these tokens, as I earlier said, it's been, the minting and the burning entire process has been monitored by Dubai government. So we cannot mint more than the actual physical asset that we have. So, and neither we can burn them. So if to burn them, we need to convert back to the physical gold, and we have to just, once we burn this token, we have to give back the physical gold bar that is to the investor. So how do you own it? It's very simple. You can deposit 1 kg of standardized gold bar with Comtech Vault and convert them into tokens. You can trade them, buy and sell them on exchanges, which are easily available. You can redeem them. You can get back that 1 kg of 100,000 tokens, 1,000 tokens, and we can give back the 1 kg of gold. And this can be done through our ecosystem partners. Another way of owning this is you just create an account on the exchange, and over there you just make your deposit of USDT, and from USDT you can buy and sell tokens. These are our ecosystem partners. So what we have achieved till now is we started this idea in 2021. From there, like in Q1 of 22, we formed the company, which was in Davza. And then immediately in Q2, we already had 100 kg of gold. And we listed on Buy-True Exchange. In Q3, we listed on Elban Exchange. We had also tokenized 1,450 kg of silver. It is a Sharia compliant certification we achieved from Amani Advisors. We are listed in Q4, we listed on Bitmart Exchange. DMCC announced their partnership with us. So any kind of tokenization is DMCC, it's like we are partnered to them. So in case of any other future tokenization through DMCC, like real estate tokenizations, or they are also investing in, looking into tokenizing water. So we have built that entire framework where I would like, all the developers to join, and, if you have any ideas, if you have any things, you can come and you can start developing on the same. So this is our journey so far. And to summarize, it's like we can offer a white label solution to all our ecosystem partners and who would like to join hands with us, where we can provide them the tokenization platform, and we can give them the entire white label solution, where right from creating a smart contracts to having a physical gold or any other value asset which can be tokenized, can be stored. We can facilitate with that. We can help with Sharia compliant certification. So it's entire framework is ready. So I invite all our partners to come and join. And so these are the basic benefits that you get when you collaborate. So pricing APIs, we can build minting and burning infrastructure, complete tokenization support, flexible billing options like fixed plus variable can be offered to the client, so that all of us in the ecosystem can make benefit out of it. Secured and audited XDC network, access to supporting infrastructure like wallets, custodian exchanges, access to CGO liquidity pool, physical custody infrastructure, Sharia compliant, digital custody of tokens, trade flow warrants, and multi-sig facility. So these are a few testimonials you can see. So is there any questions or anything which will be happy to answer on this? Thank you.
And yeah, so we're using TurboPack, React, Next.js, Truffle, Ganache. And with those tools, we have a pretty good framework to start building an application. Really quickly, we're going to go ahead and change directories into our web application just to make sure everything kind of works. So let's go ahead and run that, and we should see the Next.js app go ahead and boot up here, and we'll open that in our local host. And we should see a very simple message, let's build in Web3. So good, we're good to go there. We'll come back to this web page as we start to build out our application. We're going to go ahead and kill that terminal and just back up a few directories because, like I said, we're working in TurboPack, which means we can execute all of our commands right here from the root of the project, which is pretty nice for developing. We'll go over a few things real quick, which is like, what's in this blockchain folder? So we have our smart contract, and we have a few libraries that it uses, like hex strings and base64. These are things that when I open up this contract, you'll see that we're using. Basically, hex strings just allows you to convert uint256 to ASCII strings, basically blockchain type data to regular string data. And base64 allows us to transform byte32 data into its base64 string representation for saving like JSON files. I know that's a lot of bullcrap, but those are really essential packages and libraries that help us out a big time in our Solidity contract. So as we go to our Solidity contract, we can already kind of see what this thing is doing here, right? Solidity's pretty easy to read. It's a pretty simple language so far. And as you can see here, we have a total supply of tickets. We're keeping track of who the owner is, what is the max supply of all the tickets that we want to create for our fictitious event. Our fictitious event is going to be called ETH Atlantis because I figured nobody would be starting an ETH Atlantis anytime soon. And then we're going to have a concept of VIP and general admission tickets, which for simplicity, in my contract, the difference between a VIP ticket and a GA ticket is just the price. So if whoever's buying this ticket pays 0.1 ETH, they get a GA ticket. If they're paying 0.2 ETH, they get a VIP ticket. Now, of course, you could do that many different ways, but for a demo and just something to get started, this is a pretty cool way of doing it. We want to know who the wallet of owner is for each NFT, because in our front end, we want to be able to have a couple of minting functions for each ticket. So we've got a general admission and a VIP ticket. And when they mint those tickets, we want the application to actually display any NFTs that they've already purchased down there at the bottom of the application. And one of the ways that we do that is we have a function in here. So we've got our mint function, and then we have generate NFT SVG by token ID, which is a pretty long function name. But what this does is it takes the same SVG that we're saving on chain, and it allows us to call into this public function to basically pass in a wallet address, and we can get all the NFTs that that person owns back into an array and then display them on the front end exactly how they're saved on chain. The reason we've gone with an SVG on-chain ticket is because for a demo, for a workshop, it's much easier to get people building, especially if they're new to Web3, with something that doesn't include IPFS and all this other shit where they've got to keep track of images and upload them to IPFS and pin them and do all this extra stuff. So we're getting around that by just throwing that SVG on-chain. There's better ways to do it, but not for a demo. All right, so if we go back to our README here, we can see that kind of the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and build our project. So let's go ahead and get that done real quick. So this is just compiling all of the code that we need to be able to run our project. And then the next function that we're going to run will spin up our local version of Truffle and Ganache. So that way we have a way of kind of locally running and testing our code and our contracts and our dApp while we're developing. So let's go ahead and run that next. So this will spin up that side of the application, kind of our back end, if you will. And you can see that whenever we have Ganache running, we have all of these private keys and accounts here. So these will allow us to import these accounts into our MetaMask wallet, and it'll give us 100 test ETH so that we can build locally and test out our application. So we've got that there. We're going to go and open up a new terminal, and that's where we'll run our dev. And we need to do a few other things really quickly in our MetaMask wallet to be able to get to a point where we can test this application. One is that we need to create a network, like a local network that we can hit with our MetaMask. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller and open up our MetaMask. Oops. Let's get that over here. And we're going to add our own RPC, or our own network. So we're going to come down here at the bottom and hit add network manually. And you might have done this in the past before with like other chains, but we're going to do it for our local host, right? So we're going to call it localhost 9545. We're going to put in an RPC, which kind of matches that. This is actually the more important piece of information. Our chain ID will be 1337, leet, dope. And then we'll just put in ETH as the currency, save that, and now we have a local host that we can use to test. One thing we need to go do is we need to go grab one of these wallet IDs. So I'm going to go grab this last one here, and this will give us all of our kind of local test ETH that we can use. And then once we have that, we'll have all of our MetaMask stuff set up and ready to go. So we'll go to import account. Paste in that private key. Don't worry, it's nothing that you guys, even if I showed you that, it's nothing you can do anything with. It's all local. And cool. So now we have that kind of running in the background, and we're good to kind of move on with the rest of this. So let's move back over to our dev here, and we will also, so we've got our dev environment up and running. It looks like we've got our account address, so we'll copy this account address over into this web file here. We've got a lib folder with a config, and we just need to tell it what that address is. And once we paste that in there, we're not going to have to do that again. So we've got so now our application knows what contract that we're dealing with, and now we can open up localhost 3000. And of course, we have this Let's Build in Web 3, and let's make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. All right. And now we get to the fun part, which is we're going to start building this thing. And it's going to be kind of like a speed run here. I'm going to do it as quickly as possible, because the idea, so sometimes people are like, oh, all we're doing is copying and pasting code and creating these files. But if you do this yourself, then you have a really good idea of where everything is and why you're creating these files and what they're used for. And then if you want to take this home and you want to do something with it, you can walk through this README. You have all the explanation that I'm going to be covering here, and you have every single step that'll get you from that starting point all the way to the finishing point. I see a few extra people have came in really quick here. I'll give you this URL one more time. So it's tinyurl.com/ETHDubai 2023. tinyurl.com/ETHDubai 2023. And if anyone needs that again, just raise your hand. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to be able to connect to our MetaMask. It's pretty much the first thing that you're going to do in any dApp, right? So the first thing we want to do is to create, and we're going to be doing a lot of this, creating new folders and files. So let's create a new folder called Styled Components. If you are a React developer, let's spell that right. You'll know quite a bit about styled components. Styled components are really cool. It's kind of like a way of taking the styling that you need for each function or each component in your React application and kind of creating a function out of it, which is pretty cool. So we're going to copy this over, and we're going to create a new file called navigation.js, and this will be all the styling for our navigation. Let's go ahead and do that. So this will be navigation.js. And again, if you're following along, the README goes right in order of everything that we need to be doing. And again, that's tinyurl.com/ETHDubai2023 for those that are continuing to walk in. Next, we need to create a general file in here. So the general file, as you can assume, that last styling was for the navigation component or React component. But we need some some styling specifically for anything else in the application that can be reused, right? So these styles here, like the flex container, flex item, these allow us to use Flexbox to create formatting or layout. As well, there's a button here that, we're definitely going to want to reuse the same button in different places. We don't want to create a button over and over and over in React. So also we want the styling to all be in one place. Again, the cool thing about this styling is you create the styling and the name of the component that you're going to create with it here. You tell it whether it's a div, or you could put h1 or span or whatever you want there, and it will create a component with that HTML element as the wrapping component. The wrapping element on it. All right. Next, we need to go ahead and create our navigation file. So this is going to be basically the first React component that we're building here today, and this is going to have all of the stuff that we need in order to connect to our MetaMask. So let's create a navigation.tsx page here. Go ahead and paste that in and take a look at what we're doing here. So I'll also kind of be reviewing this code a little bit, right? So we're importing those styled components. As you remember, we had a flex container, button, flex item, and you can see all of those components here, right? So again, another reason why I love styled components. But all of this component really it's the full navigation view, and then you've got a flex container inside, which allows us to do basically like Flexbox styling layout. And then each side of the navigation, so we have a logo side, and then we have the side with the MetaMask button on it. So that's going to be our flex items. So as you can see, we have a logo on the left-hand side, which just says ETH Atlantis, again, our awesome event that we're going to be creating. And on the right-hand side, we have this MetaMask Connect button. And of course, this is going to get swapped out with something else, but let's go ahead and save that. So we have our navigation component created. Really nice. Next thing we need to do is we need to import that navigation item into our main index page, which is also going to be our minting page. It's kind of serving both purposes for this project. In a real project, you would probably have several different pages, but this is pure demo style here, so our index will also be our minting page, and you can see we've named that component mint. And then also there is that navigation component that we just created. So we have a reference to that. That'll be the top thing on our page. And yeah, move on, right? So let's go ahead and close these. Open up our README again. All right, so where are we at now? Yeah, so what we just did there was we imported our navigation, and this adds the component to the area that we kind of had reserved for it. We should also see in the top right-hand corner that Connect button, but we need to actually put a button there. But first, we need to do a few other things, and I think this is one of the things that I like about this workshop, that I liked creating this for people that are new to Web3, is because when you start using React and MetaMask and these different tools to start building a Web3 dApp, great, you have the ability to connect to MetaMask. That's awesome, but what about keeping your application in sync with the state of that wallet, what the balances are, whether you're connected to that wallet, whether you've disconnected to that wallet? All of these things are things that we can achieve with React hooks. So if you're a React developer, you probably know a little bit about React hooks. We're going to go create 2 of them, and one's going to be called Use Listen. The other one's going to be called Use MetaMask. So we're going to create a new folder in here inside of web called hooks. And then inside there, we're going to have, let's do Use Listen first. And I'll show you guys what this does as we create it. Get the dot in there. All right, so that's not the right one. Let's try that again. All right, so this will be the use listen React hook. And what is this guy doing? We're going to come back to that in one moment. Let's go ahead and get the other one created too. So the other one is called use MetaMask. And this one's a little bit more involved. And this is the file that if you're trying to track state inside of React, you're probably using React Context API. And this portion of code right here took me a while to develop and to kind of, I guess, use the best practices over time. So this potentially could save you quite a bit of time as you're developing your dApp. At least it gives you a nice starting point so that you can have a nice reducer in your application that handles connecting to MetaMask, disconnecting, whether or not the page has been loaded, whether or not you're in a loading state or an idle state, and also having a default state, right? So we have, usually in React context, we have some type of a reducer. We have some initial state that reducer uses to kind of be a starting point for all of our state in our React application. And then we also create this component down here, which is a provider. And then we're going to go wrap our entire application with that provider so our application has access to all this data that is the state of our wallet in our application. So we've got those two files created. And then use listen is just keeping track of the balance and dispatching that connect and disconnect function whenever we need to. So these files respectively listen for changes in the user's connection to MetaMask, and they set up a context provider for sharing the wallet state to the components in our app. With those files in place, we'll wire up our connect and disconnect so that we can display the very basic balance information for the connected user. So we're going to go back to our navigation.tsx file that we just created, and we're going to paste in this code and kind of see what we've done differently here. And there's quite a bit, so there's a lot to go over here. Again, this is all of the information that you're going to need to know just to be able to connect to MetaMask with our SDK, which again lets you connect to either extension or mobile. And that's pretty easy to do. That's just a few lines of code to instantiate our SDK. But if you want to be able to keep that state in sync in your application, then you need to write a lot more code, and that's what this is. All right, so let's start at the top here. Again, we've pulled in some of that basic, those styled components. We have a dispatch to update our state once we've started using MetaMask. So we're using our use MetaMask and use listen functions here from our React hooks. And we're setting a few variables called show install MetaMask or show connect button. We want to determine if the user has MetaMask, has it installed, or if they're connected already. So we need to have a few variables to be able to track that information. And then we also have, like I said, an is connected. When we connect, we want to be able to dispatch, we want to be able to request from Ethereum using the RPC API into MetaMask. We want to be able to get the balance, we want to be able to request the accounts, and we want to be able to dispatch our connect and then listen from that point on to any changes that MetaMask wallet has so that we can continue to update the state in our application. And with React, that's super easy because with this provider that we have, any data that changes in the wallet that we're tracking, it's automatically going to get sent to our components, and our components are going to automatically update. That's the great thing about kind of having React. All of the rest of this is the same as we had before, except for in this right nav section where we had that little holder for the MetaMask button. So as you can see here, if we need to show the connect button, we're going to do that. If we need to show the install MetaMask button, we're going to do that versus, hey, we've got a wallet, we've got a balance, let's show that information because the user's already connected. So it's basically only one of these will ever get kind of rendered at one point in time based off of the logic that we created up here where we determine whether or not they have MetaMask installed, whether or not they're not connected or whether they've already connected. Cool. So we can move past that navigation and kind of move on to one of the next components that we're doing. So at this point, we would still get an error if we ran our front end because even though we've done all this cool stuff and we've created this cool context provider, we have not wrapped our entire application with that context provider. So we'll go do that really quick, and then we should be able to see some of this stuff working. So if we go over to our app.tsx, this is kind of where that wrapper is going to need to be placed. So as you can see, the only thing that we've done here is we've imported this MetaMask provider, and we've wrapped the rest of our application with it. So anything within this component here, any component that loads in our application has access to that state and will automatically get updated because React is fucking awesome, and it will re-render on the page without us having to do anything else. At that point, we can probably go back over to our app now, and we can see install MetaMask. I don't think we should be doing that yet. Let's see here. Well, we already have a problem. So, I think it's telling us to install, but we've already got it installed. So let's try something real quick. It's the great thing about demos, live demos, is things always go wonderfully. So let's go ahead and kill that for a moment, and then add it back. That shouldn't be the problem. Let's see if we've done anything wrong here. So we have our navigation, got our layout, navigation.js. We need to update our, we need to update our layout. Didn't finish here. I had one more thing to, two more things to do here. I was getting ahead of myself. So let's go over to the layout.tsx. The reason why this is needed is because in a React application, we need a kind of a central point to be able to kind of determine if MetaMask is already installed, find out if there's an Ethereum provider already injected, and then be able to call listen from another point in our application to kind of bootstrap those things that we just added. And then from there, we should have just one more thing to do before we can see our stuff working. Again, I got a little bit ahead of myself. So we need to add a MetaMask SDK.ts file, and that's going to be in our library directory here. And we need to add this code. So this is what actually instantiates that MetaMask SDK. So again, you could have done this just by itself in your React application, and you would have been able to connect to MetaMask, either the extension or the mobile. But again, you're not going to be able to track all the state. And we have some packages and some features coming out in MetaMask SDK where you may not have to write some of this, or you might be able to have a component that does some of that stuff for you. But it's a very new library, and so typically I would want to do a lot of that stuff myself anyways, because I may not want to be tracking all of the state of that wallet. So at that point, we should have everything working now. Great, there's our Connect MetaMask button. Yippee. So if we go there, we should be able to connect after I put in my password here. What is it, test 1, 2, 3, 4? No? Test 1, 2, 3, 4? Yes, test 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you guys can, if you can get my machine, you can break into my wallet that has nothing in it. Great, so now that we've connected, we can see what our MetaMask address is. We can see how much ETH we have. I'm super flush with ETH right now with 100. Of course, that is only local test ETH, so I can't really do anything with it other than buy tickets to my own event. That's a fictitious event anyways. But great, so what we've done so far is we've created this navigation at the top. We've got a cool little fucking logo here, and we've got buttons that connect to MetaMask. And even behind the scene, you can't really tell yet, but if we were to start spending ETH, it gets rounded up, but if we were to start spending ETH, or if we were to connect to another wallet or disconnect or any of that stuff, our application would know about it, and it would re-render these components automatically, and that's a really cool place to be in. And now we can actually start to build the meat of the rest of our app. We can build our minting page. We can build the display for our tickets. So let's get started with that. So since our app is based on showing the type of tickets available and allowing for the user to mint those tickets, we need to add a few components directly to the index.tx page. First thing we need to do is we need to add a few imports here. So on the index.tx page, we need to import Ether's library for interacting with Ethereum and the tickets component that we'll be creating in just a moment. So let's go do that. We're just going to paste these right here. So now we have those, and of course this one's not showing up yet because we haven't created it, so we'll go ahead and create that one next. We've also got to add this code here. So this is what keeps track of our different tickets. Okay, again, we have GA and VIP, so that we have two different types of tickets on our page, and we're going to be posting this just below where we instantiate that mint component. All right. And then, of course, we need to add this tickets right below the navigation. So that'll go right here. And so this will show up right underneath our navigation. And the way that I've styled everything, they'll be completely separated. And now we've got it added to this page. And I usually do that as I'm developing. I'll kind of like create where a component's going to go, and then I'll go create that component next. So that's exactly what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I need to create a tickets.tsx. Again, this is TypeScript. Another thing I would mention is that not only are we doing some pretty cool stuff with React state in this application, but we're also using all TypeScript, and the TypeScript is pretty solid. I'm sure that if someone was like a really hardcore TypeScript developer, they might be able to find some issues with it, but it's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and create a file here called tickets.tsx. And so not only are we using TypeScript everywhere, but we're also using something called type chain, which is a really cool NPM package that knows about my contract. It knows about my Solidity contract, and I get typing for all of the functions that I might want to call from my front end with inside of my React application into that contract. So my mint function, or my generate SVGs by token or by address, I get full typing for all that stuff. So again, this is a great place to start your project because it has all those things built in, all those developer productivity things in place. Now we also need to create a styled component, right? Because we can't just have a tickets component without some awesome tickets styling. So let's go ahead and get that in place here. And this is just very basic, like background color, font color, background padding size, height, that kind of stuff. So it's mostly just formatting. And with all this in place, we should be able to run our dApp, and we should see those tickets showing up, right? So boom, now we've got this application. It's got ETH Atlantis, almost a better website than ETH Dubai already. So we've got ticket types, we've got general admission, VIP, and then we have these mint ticket buttons, which aren't going to do anything right now because, again, in web development and software, we've got to build everything before it works. We've got the things in place. We know what we want it to look like, but those things don't work yet. Great, so we need to add some additional code to our tickets.tsx page, allowing us to interact with our smart contract. This is some of the most important code right here, because if we can't call into that smart contract, which, by the way, I have all that shit wired up already for you guys, in the tickets page, we need to add a few imports to the top, actually quite a few of them. So let's go ahead and do that first. Here we go. So probably just replace all of this with that. And why is this one still not showing up? Let's just do / tickets. Oh, now it says it's there. Okay, whatever. Visual Studio Code's weird sometimes. All right, so we've got that. So these imports will give us access to our connected wallet state. The Next.js router is also something that we have imported there. We've imported our ETH tickets factory created by our build, which utilizes type chain. We just talked about that. We've also got ethers, and that allows us to interact with the blockchain. So next, we need to add a few more things here. We want to be able to deconstruct our wallet state from the use MetaMask function, and then we want to pull in that router so that we can refresh the page. We can force a refresh on the page whenever we want to. And with that in place, we've got most of what we need for the update of this file. All right. We need to add the mint ticket, right? So we'll add this in, and I'll kind of show you what this is doing. So we're going to add that right above what our return statement. Yeah. So right above the return statement, we're going to add this function. And this is what calls out to our smart contract. Remember, we have a mint NFT function, public function, inside of our smart contract. So one thing that we could be doing already as developers, rather than putting this function here and hitting it from our front end, is we could be using like one-click DApp or one of these other tools that allows us to put in our, whether it's a test chain address or whether it's a local address. You could even use the Solidity IDE online to do this stuff, where you have a contract, and then you've got all these cool little buttons to help interact with that. But we're going to skip right over that because, again, this is a demo, and we're just going to assume that I wrote all this code correctly and that it's just going to work. So we call mint NFT, and what does it need? It needs, the wallet and the price, because that's all it needs to do to mint NFT. It needs to know who you are based on your wallet, and it also needs to know what price you're paying for your ticket. Remember, 0.1 is a GA ticket, 0.2 is a VIP ticket. If all goes well, we should hit this then function. And in fact, we should never hit this catch unless something goes wrong with the transaction. One way we could trigger that catch is to reject the transaction in MetaMask, but we're not going to do that. We want it to hit this then. So once the transaction starts happening, we want to wait for it, because we want to disable any buttons that are on the page, right? Web3 is full of bad UX. One thing that you can do to kind of make that better is wait on transactions. Wait till they're done. Gray things out on the application. Make it to where the users can't use them until your transaction is finished, until you've minted those NFTs. Once it's done, we'll set is minting to false so that we're not in that state anymore, and we'll force a reload on the page. All right, we're really speed running this. We're making great time here. So we talked about the async call. Finally, we just need to be able to add a button that will trigger that call. So there should be a button down here, and it's disabled kind of by default. And we're going to add this little on-click function that knows how to call that mint ticket. And we've also added this guy right here, which is can't mint. So this is just a variable that keeps track of, do I not have a wallet available yet, or am I not is minting, which basically just means I can't mint right now. So if I'm in a state where my application, I can't mint, it's good UX to go ahead and disable that button so someone can't keep clicking on it, and it's doing, basically popping up more MetaMask dialogues, right? So at this point, if we are connected to the dApp with MetaMask wallet that has some ETH in it, we can test those buttons out. So ensure that you have your developer tools in your browser is open, and we could see like the console log there. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go and try and mint one of those NFTs. So let's refresh here, and we should get that little hand. Great, that means that it's not disabled. We'll go ahead and mint. Yeah, we'll wait for a good price here. That looks good. All right. So we've minted an NFT. Now, again, UX. We've got some really bad UX here. We've minted an NFT, but there is nothing to kind of let the user know that they've minted that NFT. I could create another. I could do another one right now. I could do the general admission. I could confirm this one. So now I've minted 2 NFTs. Again, I have no way of really knowing that as a user. So I think what we want to do is we want to create a component below that that's called tickets owned. And with that component, we can render out those tickets, those SVG tickets that we have literally as they exist on the blockchain. So let's go ahead and add a new styled component here. It's going to be called ticketsowned.js, and we will add the styled components for that. Again, this is just the styling for that component. We got to do this for every component that we create. It's fun. And then in the index.tsx, we need to go add that final component, tickets owned. So let's go do that. And we're reaching the home stretch here. I know that you guys are, let's see, do we already have that one here? Oh no, we have to add that one underneath it. I'm silly. All right, so now we've got tickets owned there, and it's not imported yet, but I can fix that really quickly. What do you mean no? Why can't it import it? Anyways, we'll just do tickets owned. Do we do tickets owned? Oh, we haven't created the file yet, that's why. Getting ahead of myself. Tickets owned, let's go create that tickets owned, and we'll put it inside of that tickets folder because everything tickets, yeah, we have some stuff to go over here. This is a long file, but I think you'll like this one. So again, we want to be able to, tickets owned, we want to be able to give them a little bit better UX, let them know what they've already purchased before. Go ahead and paste that in there. So let's really quickly just run over this, what this is, right? So we have NFT data and tickets formatted. These are just some types that we've created so that, again, as we're kind of working in our application, always creating these types to make sure that we get, all of the, all the cool stuff like this where I can see exactly what this object is. Tickets owned, right? We need to have a ticket collection, which is a piece of state that represents all of the tickets that I own as a wallet owner. We also need to be able to get the wallet address from our use MetaMask, right? Remember, we created that use MetaMask hook, and now we're seeing a component that we've added, another component that we've added where we can just tap into that thing and we can tap into the state of that MetaMask wallet. We have a use effect here. Basically, this just means we're doing something kind of from outside of the application, and we want to update our application. So we are we're getting a provider, a signer, a link to that factory. And then NFT tickets is kind of, that is an object that represents our smart contract. And we're going to tell it what contract address it's associated with. And then finally, tickets retrieved. This is where all of those tickets are going to be held. It's a variable that's going to hold all of those tickets that we've already received. And we're going to populate that based on calling NFT tickets.wallet of owner, right? So if we double click on this, guys, we can see where it's being added down here, where it's being populated. And basically every time that we have this map function here, so every time that we get a ticket that this person owns, we're pushing that into this tickets retrieved array. And then, when all of this is done, and you can go and take a closer look at this yourself if you want to, we now have this array full of all of these tickets. Finally, we want to have a list of those tickets, and then we want to kind of populate them in a grid. So we've got a grid container and a grid with some nice little formatting here. And with that, we should be at a point where we're pretty much done. Let's go just kind of make sure that we've got everything. We've got tickets owned, tickets. Oh, we can go back to our index and actually update this guy now. Now it knows what to do with it. Quick fix. Yeah, let's import that, save it, go back to our application, and look, now we've got our tickets down there. They're a little bit big. We could probably make them a little bit smaller, format a little bit nicer, but now if we add a new ticket, we can confirm, and now we've got another ticket there, right? So another cool thing is, like, if we want to open up our MetaMask wallet and do something like switch accounts, let's go ahead and select another account here and just connect to that. Notice all this updates automatically, right? My address is updated. the amount of ETH I have in this wallet is updated. A new wallet is connected. Notice I have no NFTs down here now. Let's go ahead and change back to our other wallet and just see that update again. Boom, everything's back. So no matter what we do in that MetaMask wallet, if we connect to another account, if we have spent some ETH somewhere else, it's going to reflect here. We can even open Etherscan. So I think with that being said, there's a few things I would note here. Again, a great application, and I can kind of go back over to our slides real quick, just so that you guys have an opportunity one more time to take a look at this code that we have. Again, my name is Eric. I'm with the MetaMask DevRel team. You can find me on Twitter. Here's the tiny URL where all this code is. Again, whether you're a Web 2 developer that's getting involved with Web 3, you want to build your first dApp, you want to be able to track the state of your MetaMask wallet inside of a React application, which, by the way, React is pretty much what 90% of everyone in Web 3 uses, especially as they're getting started. This is a great place to start. It's a mono repo. It's got truffle and ganache. You can easily switch out and use hard hat or something else with no problem at all, right? It's super easy to do that. We have a thing called truffle dashboard. If you want to take kind of your, you want to be able to push these out to a test net or to mainnet or whatever. Truffle dashboard is a really cool thing that I've added extra notes at this URL that can give you some tips on how to use Truffle dashboard. And with Truffle dashboard, you're not locked into Truffle. In fact, you can use Truffle dashboard with hard hat, with Foundry, and these other tools. And think if you wanted to deploy this project actually onto a testnet or onto mainnet Ethereum or Polygon or whatever, there's a lot that you have to do kind of from the command line, compiling your contracts, creating migration scripts and all that. And Truffle dashboard kind of takes care of all that for you with a nice little administration panel. And again, you can use Truffle with it, you can use other things with it, you're not locked in. At Consensus and MetaMask and Truffle, we try to build tools for the community that don't lock you into one thing. Hopefully our SDK can support multiple wallets at some point in time. Hopefully we can work with other wallets to create better standards for all of the wallets that build in Ethereum and on multi-chain as we start to do that. Oops, I didn't say that. All right, so with that, does anyone have any questions? Jyoti? Kingsley, any questions? Anyone else? How many React developers do we have left in here? Okay, yeah, you got to raise your hand, guys. All right, yeah, so, all right. What do you think of the application? Is this something that you would use? Are you already a Web3 developer and like you're kind of already past this? Are you new to Web3? How about you guys right here in the yellow shirts? You'd use it? You wouldn't use it. What would you use? Huh? You don't do front ends, but you raised your hand, you said you're a React developer. Okay. He's not a real React developer. But anyways, well, you can give it to your front end guys. The point is like it gives you a really good starting point. If you got a friend that's new to Web3, give them this URL. They'll thank you. They'll be your best friend down the road. My name's Eric. That's pretty much my workshop. If you guys want to come up and talk to me afterwards, that's great. Otherwise, I will see you back here tomorrow or at the yacht party or somewhere else. I'll be hosting the entire track one here tomorrow, and I'm super excited about ETH Dubai this year. Things are going really great. Thank you guys very much. And hopefully you guys will join me for ETH Atlantis in 2022. Probably should update that.